All right, guys, so we're down to the last part, or part 3 of the naming notes. So we took care of, there we go, we took care of part 1 for both single valent and multivalent. Those were the ionic compounds. We just took care of covalent compounds with part 2, so this right here is going to be part 3. So part 3 is hydrogen and acids, which means every compound we're going to talk about for this part is going to start with H. Okay, just H. So it's H and then something else. Now there's 2 different types. The one type, let's get into this now. There we go. So there are 2 different types. The one type that has no oxygen. Okay, that means HCl. There's no oxygen here, which means that I use my prefix hydro for no oxygen. If it's no oxygen, then we start with hydro. Okay? Now, hydro goes in front of whatever the negative part is. So in this case here, it's hydro and then chlor for chlorine, but the ending is not what we think. Every time before we've used IDE, that's not it. So for acids, we go hydro and ic. Hydro-ic, hydrochlor-ic, and then we end with the word acid. So HCl is hydrochloric acid. Okay, now I showed you this one on purpose as an example because this one's just a little bit different. If I take, let's just take a look at this one here for HI, or we know since there's no oxygen, it's going to be hydro. And what is I? I is iodine, so that's IOD, okay? And then we end with ic like this, and then acid. Yes, it's actually called hydroiodic acid. Hydroiodic acid. And that's how we name it. The hydro in front, the ic afterwards, and then acid at the end. This one works the same way. This is sulfur, except we do hydro, and instead of sulfic, instead of just shortening like that, people thought it sounded better to add the UR to the whole thing. So sulfur, ic, and then it sounds like hydrosulfuric acid. Okay, so this one's spelled just a little bit different. It doesn't follow the rule very completely. We keep the UR in there also with the ic. So this is when you don't have an oxygen. Take a look at my name at the bottom where it says hydrobromic acid. There we go. So hydrobromic acid looks like this. The hydro means I have no oxygen. Brome means I have Br with a -1. Okay, we have to keep the charges in for acids, not prefixes, but we do for acids. And the acid part means I have H. What charge does H have? H has a +1. So if I have a +1 and a -1, then it's just HBr. It's really that simple. Okay, so the hydro and the acid mean H in front, and H is a +1, and bromine's a -1. Okay, so there is crisscross here, but we don't need to do it because of the +1 and the -1. Okay, now let's take a look at the second type. The second type is a little bit more confusing, and the rules are a little bit more involved. So here I have with oxygen. So the 2 types, without oxygen and with oxygen. So with oxygen, there is no hydro in front. Okay, so we can do our slash through hydro. No hydro. Okay, so now we have polyatomic ions. My polyatomic ion for this is, notice I have H in front. Okay, so that doesn't change anything. SO4 is sulfate. Now the ruling is this. If it ends in ATE, then we change that to end in ic. And then we put acid at the end. Okay, so instead of sulfic acid, which is what it used to be called, but then they changed it, this should be sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid. So sulfate is SO4, but 1 hydrogen's in front, then it's sulfuric acid. Okay, let's see if you can follow along. Now, if we have ITE at the end, so there's 2 cases, either it's ATE and we got ic, or it's ITE and we change the ite to OUS, and then acid. 8-ic-ite-us. 8-ic-itis. Okay? 8-ic-ite-us. This is sulfite. The ite changes to us, and our acid becomes sulfurous acid. Because of the ite, I change it to OUS. Sulfurous acid. Okay, let's keep going and do some more of these. So here I have hydrogen again, of course, and this CO3 is carbonate. So what would we change it to? Would we change it to ic or us? Obviously with the ATE, I'm going to change it to carbonic acid. And you know that as the acid that's in soda. Okay, carbonic acid. Good. Well, let's see what we got for chromic acid. So when we go in the other direction, that means that I change my ic to 8. This is chromate. Chromate is CrO4 with a -2. You can look that up on the polyatomic ion sheet that I attached to this naming notes assignment. So chromate is CrO4 with a -2. If it says acid, that means hydrogen is in front, and there's a +1. Notice that we have to do our crisscross. Our crisscross comes down like this, and my formula for this acid then is H2CrO4. And that's it. And that's how we do all of them. We change ic to 8, and then write the formula for chromate, and then crisscross with hydrogen. That's a lot, I know. Okay, we're going to practice all of this though. I'm going to give you time in class if you're here with me in class to practice it. Otherwise, if you're online, I'm going to give you plenty of examples and chances to ask me questions through message. All right, good luck.